Okay, I'm at Cley Hill. There's Cley Hill behind me. Seat of ancient mysteries. Home of the Warminster thing. In 1972, 10,000 people were reported to got on top of that hill to look for the Warminster thing, which was supposed to be noises and bright lights in the sky. There was a whole furore of activity.
How many people here tonight are afraid of the thing?
If tonight we can contribute something constructive to the explanation of these phenomena, it might be able to assure these people who have nothing to be alarmed about.
The noise did occur, and I confirmed the lady who was too scared to disclose her name that she did hear it, and so did I. It woke me up.
I was wakened by this dreadful droning sound.
Would like to speak up?
And I went to the bedroom window and I saw this brilliant object. It was quite low in the sky, and I live up Beacon View that way, and it seemed to be travelling very slowly, and I was petrified. I just couldn't move. I was shaking like a leaf. I just couldn't move, and it was going on for half an hour.
And when that ended, curiously, the crop circles kind of began their campaign. And here we are now back at a site which has been connected to these kinds of paranormal phenomena since the 60s. A truly remarkable formation. On the ground here, it looks like not very much at all. It's in a dip of land in between a kind of two high points, and there's not much to say about it on the ground. There's a lot of people been here now and trodden, but it doesn't look that great. So I'm gonna have a walk around now. You look at some of the detail, and then we'll look at the overheads together. And this is truly amazing. Okay, I'm looking at a central swirl here, which has obviously been well visited. There's lots of seeds on the floor, and people have sat here. And as I look towards the main body of the formation, there's lots of detail in this, where there are tufts of wheat left standing with laid wheat going around the stems in different directions. So we're going to take a look at that now. Here it is. I'll try and walk around it from different angles so that you can see how much detail is in this. I'll walk down one of these lines and turn. This is truly remarkable. You see a line of standing wheat there, which is like a main block of one of the cubes. And I'm now standing in this tufted part. Look at the work. And there's lots of this. As I pan up now and look out, you'll see a whole row of it. It looks like some kind of plantation, all well ordered, all standing in a row. If I look down lower to the floor here, crop coming towards me, crop going across from left to right, and standing tufts, just little tufts, about 20 stems standing up next to each other with these avenues running down. Truly remarkable. It's interesting, Michael, isn't it? The Warminster thing, Cley Hill, that footage, 1965, and there they are, the villagers, all speaking in received pronunciation, very BBC, complaining of the lights and the noises and that people weren't taking them seriously. And this has gone on forever. I mean, as I said in the clip there's 10,000 people went on top of that hill to look for the Warminster thing in 1972. The tourist office in Warminster still records that.
Warminster and Cley Hill were very much established as part of the
Well, yeah, I
history.
really think so. It seems the Warminster thing's like a precursor to the crop circles in a way of saying like, something's coming, the thing. And then a lot of those early formations, those quintuplets that John Martineau analysed in the early days in '87,
The one
Upton Scudamore and
Upton Scudamore was just
down the road. So it kind of spread from there across to this part of Wiltshire.
And the Upton Scudamore quintuplet was one of the most geometrically astonishing.
Yeah, I still use it in presentations.
Oh.
And speaking of which, you've done some geometry on this particular one at Cley Hill and looked at some of the cubes. Let's have a look at that. What have you got there, Michael?
Well, we start with the fact that it's based fundamentally on a simple cube.
Right.
And of course, the cube, when shown in this kind of projection, isometric projection, which is close to perspective, it displays the cube as a solid object.
Yeah.
But of course, when you return to its graphic nature, it is hexagonal.
Hexagonal, yeah.
Six-sided figure.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at that cube and divide it into 9, which is what happened to this formation itself, you're dealing with 3 layers, 9, 9 and 9, 27.
Like a Rubik's Cube?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then you can see very simply how you start with 1 cube.
Yeah.
You go to a line of 3, you go to a surface of 9, you go to a solid of 27.
Right.
Then if you proceed further and you remove the 8 corner cubes,
Right.
shown here in purple,
Yeah.
you pull them out. Now, in this drawing, I show how the 8 corners are exploded outwards.
Taken out.
Now, obviously, we can only see 6 of them because one of them is behind our main cube and one of them is in front of it, so I've omitted it.
Yeah.
But if you take that 8 and bring them together again, you have a small cube. Very simple.
Right.
Very simple.
Yeah.
But then, what happens when you remove those corners, those purple corners, you get the solid formation, which is shown here, which is an elaborate cube, 3 by 3 by 3, 27 small cubes, and you've pulled out the 8 corners.
Leaving 19, and the shape that we see in front of us.
Yeah.
And then we've got this issue that makes it 3-dimensional with this use of texture.
Well, it's the issue which emphasises.
It emphasises,
its
absolutely. Yeah, it looks 3D
three-dimensionality.
anyway, it emphasises, absolutely.
Because the drawing is itself a three-dimensional drawing.
It is, yes.
And our brains recognise this as a three-dimensional representation. But what is breathtaking here for me is the wisdom, the knowledge, the craftsmanship that can take this three-dimensional form and show it simply by the manipulation of the crop.
Yeah.
Show it at several levels of differentiated grey.
Yes. Yes.
And this is breathtaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know how you imagine this. And you know, as I've said before, and I will continue to say until I'm nailed up finally, I know there are a few hooligans out there who can stamp down
Sure.
feet. We know that. Who is the man who can design this?
Whoever, I think they're genius, and as you know.
And take it further in this case, who is the man who, having displayed the genius of designing this three-dimensional truncated cube, can then elaborate on it with such skill to show the lightest, the medium, the darkest sides, and to bring it to a point of almost photorealism.
Yeah, the photos.
Simply by the manipulation of growing wheat.
And of course, we mentioned and we discussed that this technique of clumping certain bunches of wheat together to create an effect was again first seen in the face at Chilbolton in 2000. Was that 2001? Wasn't it?
2001.
Yeah.
Now, the face is marginally different because the face was actually as near as we've got to photorealism.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that it used a technique devised by Frederick Eugene Ives at the beginning of the century to use black and white dots of varying sizes to show a range of photographic greys to translate a photograph. I mean, we are now used to it. If we look at, if we look through a magnifying glass at print,
Newspaper print.
certainly newspaper print, we'll see these dots which shrink and increase as necessary. We take our eye away and look, and it's a photograph.
Yeah.
But look in.
Yeah.
This technique of rendering photographic imagery into dots of varying sizes and density is known as halftone.
Right.
Frederick Eugene Ives.
Frederick Eugene Ives. You've remembered that. When is it? 1907?
I can't remember them.
Okay.
Early. And the point of the face is that when photographed from a distance, it looks
like a face.
Well, it's photorealism, isn't it? When you go into the field, you're looking at a mess.
A mess.
It is an indescribable mess. It is a series of clumps which are brushed and swirled around. With the certainty of an oil painting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolute knowing.
Yeah.
But when you pull away a little, you go to, you'll see that it's a very disciplined geometric grid.
Yeah. Yeah.
In two directions.
You can completely see method in the madness.
And there are, just as in halftone, the dots are arranged on parallel lines in two directions, but they simply increase and decrease their size. Now, what we have here is an absolute genius of the understanding of light and shade.
Yeah.
Because who has the ability to make these random, impenetrable swirls on the ground, and then
from above it's all revealed.
From above, it is photorealism.
Right. And as I want to finally finish on this issue of those people standing in a circle in Steve's picture, and then somebody giving me the photograph of them all waving their hands up in the air at the end on the ground. And it looks like from your book that this clustering effect has taken place again, that these people have put themselves into a position quite unconsciously.
Two things about rings of people. Number one, it is very difficult to find a photograph of a circle made by people informally which is circular.
Yeah.
They make egg shapes and ovals.
Yeah.
But in some very strange way, rings of people in crop circles seem geometrically very accurate.
Yeah. I flew over that formation at Yatesbury in 2008, the one that looked like a kind of kung fu throwing star.
Yeah.
And there was a group of people in a perfect, probably more than that, about 30 people in a perfect circle in the centre.
It's
It's
curious.
astounding, isn't it? It's very curious. And then have you got those pictures of sheep which have aligned themselves into the...
Perfect.
And people think that's, the farmer's gone out there and gone, come on then, stand there, and put food on the ground, or the explanations people come up with when they look at something like that. Well, it's just a Photoshop, or...
There are a lot of farmers sitting in their house saying to their wives, "Oh God, I've got nothing to do. I wonder if there's a way of getting the sheep to stand in a circle."
We'll go out and get Dolly and Mopsy on the case in the morning.
There are always explanationists.
Explanologists.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, a beautiful formation at Cley Hill. Hope you've enjoyed this blog. Thanks very much.